Hello everyone, my name is Angelica Dominich and I'm a trainer here at Pragmatic. If this is your first time visiting our YouTube channel, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button below to stay up to date with all of the videos that we post. Today, I would like to talk to you about one of the newest updates to Power BI apps, and that involves the access request behavior. You now have the option to create a custom message for users who have not been initially granted access to your Power BI app. So you are able to provide simple instructions to users requesting access instead of just receiving a request via email. Now, we're going to talk about this in more detail, as well as how to set up a Power BI app, what exactly that involves, and review how to set up multiple audiences within Power BI apps. So stay tuned. We're about to head over to the Power BI service. All right, so here in the Power BI service, I have opened a workspace that I have shared a couple of different reports to so that we can create an app and test this out and get a look at setting up those different audiences, as well as looking at that custom messaging for requesting access for new users. Now, before we take a look at setting this up, I want to just discuss Power BI apps, what they are, what they involve, and how we can set these up so that we can share multiple reports from a workspace to multiple users or groups. So a Power BI app is a way for you to package up content from a workspace and distribute it to a broader audience. In fact, that is the former name, is a content pack. So it is a way for you to package up the different content items you can find in that workspace and share to a broader audience in a controlled way. So that's what we're going to take a look at here. And the steps to setting up a Power BI app are pretty simple. So we're going to walk through that and talk about the custom messaging request process, and we'll take a look at that here now. So I'm going to go off screen here so you can get the full view of this setup process. So setting up a Power BI app is pretty simple. First, in order to create the app, you must have at least a Power BI Pro license to create that workspace app. Now, you can only have one workspace app per workspace. So what do you do if you have different reports to share with different users or user groups? Now, we'll talk about that in the process of setting that up here as well. Now, before we go through setting this up, I just want to briefly touch on workspace apps and licensing, because there is a slight difference. Now, if you create a workspace app that is not in a Power BI premium capacity, then all the users you are sharing this with must have at least a pro license or premium per user license to view your app. Now, this is slightly different if this workspace app is in a Power BI premium capacity. That F64 or higher fabric capacity has also been added. Now, users that do not have pro or premium per user licenses in your organization can view app content if the app is in a premium capacity at least. Now, they can't copy reports, they can't create any other reports based on the underlying semantic model, so that's something to make note of. But those are the main differences between sharing these apps with users and the different license capacities that you are sharing those in. Now, back here on our workspace main page, let's go ahead and select Create App and begin to set up this app. So we'll begin by giving our app a name. And so I'll just call this here our Power BI app for demonstration. And you would want to give this a description, of course, to describe to your users what this app is meant to be used for, and maybe describing some of the items within. And so with this, I'm just going to keep this simple here. This is my workspace demo app. You can go in and provide a logo. So if you have that company logo here formatted for this, you can go ahead and add that in. You can also change the app theme color here. You've got a few different options. So you can go in and modify that as well. Now you can go in here and change the contact information here. You can choose to show the app publisher, You can choose to show item contents from context, from the workspace and show specific individuals or groups. Now down here in advanced settings, you have a couple of other options as well. You can expand the navigation pane by default or have it collapsed by default. We'll take a look at that in a second. You can also choose whether you want this app to install automatically for the users that you share with. You can also choose if you want to allow users to make a copy of the reports in this app. Now, if you allow users to create a copy, you're granting them build permissions, and so they will be able to take the copy of this report that they have just created, and they will be able to customize that report that they have copied and make their own changes to it for their reporting needs. So keep that in mind if you enable this option. And then if you have a support site that you'd like to share with those users as well, you can add that here. Next, we're going to take a look at adding content. Now here is where we will select add content, and we can choose from the items that are within this workspace. Now I want you to notice at the top, it says we can insert reports, dashboards, and workbooks directly from your workspace. You can also add website links, and I'll show you where to add that in just a second. Now you can check the box to select all of the reports that you see here. If we had a dashboard as well, we could also include that. We don't have one here. We'll just keep this simple for demonstration's sake, but we could include those dashboards and workbooks from this workspace as well. Now we are going to select all of these reports, even though we might not want to share each of these reports with each user we are sharing this app with. And we're going to take a look at how we're going to vary who is able to see what report. So we can go ahead, select all 3 reports, and then we'll go ahead and click add. Now here in the add content window, you can now see the reports that have been added. The pages within these reports as well are there and visible. Now, if you had a link that you wanted to add here to other websites, you can hit that drop down arrow there to add a link as well. You can also select add a new section to add a new section in here as well. Now let's go ahead and take a look at sharing this to our broader audience or audiences if we have multiple groups we want to share with. So in this window, you can get a preview of your reports and of the different pages within your reports. Now, in order to share this with multiple audiences, up here at the top of the Power BI app audience window, we can go in and add new audiences. And you can actually create up to 10 audiences per workspace app. Now, just as a reminder, you can only create 1 workspace app per workspace, but you can create up to 10 different audiences per workspace app. So within these audience groups, you can choose which content to show and which content to hide. Hiding content from the audience makes it unavailable in the published app for that audience, so keep that in mind. Any dashboard tiles, if we had the dashboard shared here as well, any dashboard tiles that are pointing at a report that is hidden from an audience is not going to work. So instead, if we had a dashboard here with a tile connected to, let's say, the AdventureWorks alerts report, and we hid this but left the dashboard available for our users to view, if they tried to click into a visual that was tied to this report that we hid from them, they would not be able to access it. They wouldn't be able to see it. They would see an error that says the report shown in this tile doesn't exist, or you don't have permission to view it. So that's something to keep in mind. This is also true for drill through reports. If the user has been hidden, or the report, the destination report of that drill through page is hidden from a user or user group, the drill through is not going to work the way that you anticipated. So let's take a look at sharing some items here with our users. And so we'll start with this first audience here. I'll call this audience 1, keep it very simple and straightforward here for us to understand. Maybe we want audience 1 to be able to see all 3 reports. So we'll leave all 3 reports available for them to view. Over here on the right-hand side, you can choose to grant access to your entire organization or to specific users and groups. So you can come in here and indicate those individuals. So I can go in here and say, let's add one user to this. I want Allison to be able to see all of these reports so that she is able to view and consume them. Now, what if I want her to be able to build? Well, if I want to give her build permissions, you need to make sure that you have this checked off here as well. Now you can see you do have the option to allow people this app audience is shared with to share the data sets. If you do not, you would want to leave that unchecked. Now, then you can go in and hit publish app if this was the only audience that you wanted to add and modify. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at adding and modifying an additional audience here. So I'll rename this one here to audience 2. And here in audience 2, let's say we only want audience 2 to be able to see that Van Arsdale market analysis. Let's go in and add a couple more here now, and I will go ahead and add one user to this workspace app as well. This audience, let's go in and add a third audience here now, audience 3. And audience 3 should only have access to the Pragmatic Works Gaming report pages here. And then we'll go into audience 4. We'll create one more, audience 4, and they will only have access to the AdventureWorks alerts. And we'll add an additional user here to the report and one more here now to Pragmatic Works Gaming. Now, once we go ahead and select Publish App, it says it'll take a few moments, but once you select Publish, you will be able to view this right away. You can give the people that you have created this app for, that you've curated these specific audiences for those users, you can take this link and share this directly with them. But they will, in a few short moments, be able to see and access this from the app section in their powerbi.com tenant and account. So if we go to the app here now and take a look at this experience, now creating this workspace app is significantly going to make your job, your role as managing these report permissions, these different content item permissions on multiple items much, much easier. So we can take a look here at audience 1, and we can see with audience 1, we granted access to all 3 reports. Audience 2, we only granted access to that Van Arsdale market analysis. They're able to see both report pages here. They're able to interact and view that report as well. If we go to audience 3, we can see they only have access to that Pragmatic Works Gaming, and audience 4 was the 4th one we set up just for the demonstration, only has access to the AdventureWorks alerts. After you've successfully published your app and you see that app is working the way that you expect it, you've shared that app link. Now, what do you do when you want to go in and modify the settings for your app request process and the messaging of this? That's what we're going to take a look at here now. All right, after you publish the app, you are able to go ahead and manage app permissions as well as modify those app permission request messages. So we'll hit go back here, and we're going to go up to our app section, and we are going to locate our application here, the Power BI app. We will go in and select more options, and then here we can select manage permissions. Now, when a user has requested access to your app, you will see a little badge appear here, a little circle letting you know there is a pending request. You will also receive an email notification that this user has requested access, and they will receive an email notification when they have been approved or declined access to the workspace app. Now, you'll also see a banner in the home space there of the workspace that someone has requested permissions to that workspace app, and so you can see that up here. Now, if we go back to the application here and go into the settings, we can go in and change the default messaging. We can change it either to leave it set to the default messaging, which just lets them know they will receive an email whether they were approved or denied, or you can replace this with a custom message. So users granting access to your custom message can see this curated message that you've put here. So when and why would you want to do this? Well, if you just wanted to add an additional greeting, an explanation of why this workspace app is not currently accessible to a user who is requesting it, maybe what it contains without getting too specific, what it is used for. You may also have a automated request approval process set up in your organization. And if you do so and you have a particular set of steps, maybe you need them to go to a particular website, a different site, fill out a form, whatever the case may be, you can provide that information here. Then once you provide this information here and you hit apply, then this will be the new message that is displayed for your users when they are requesting access to this app. So you can create that custom message, explanation of how to gain access, the instructions with specific steps so that users can then gain access to your workspace app. So you can go in and provide that right here, and then that is what they would see instead on their end. All right, everyone, that's it for this video. A couple of reminders. One, in order to create and share a workspace app, you must have at least a Power BI Pro license account. Now, if you share that workspace app from a premium capacity workspace, then your users do not have to have a Pro or premium license. If it is not in a premium capacity workspace, then they must have a Pro license at least. Now, if your users are requesting access to a workspace app from their Power BI mobile application, they will see the default messaging. This is not currently available in the Power BI mobile application for iOS or Android. So that's something to keep in mind. That is not available just yet. All right, everyone, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Just a short and sweet one here going over that new feature with the Power BI workspace apps. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button below so you can stay up to date with all of us here at Pragmatic Works. And as always, I hope to see you in the next one.